Today, we're going to introduce the next unit, cause and effect. Please turn to your handout, page 13. Cause and effect is a kind of exposition. It's a way of giving information to your reader. When talking about exposition, we noted that according to your topic, you will choose a suitable order to arrange the information. For cause and effect, the order should be related to what causes what. So for this unit, please choose an exposition topic where you are explaining either how something happened or what something can lead to. So there are two main models that you can use. The first one is you take a phenomenon and you look at all of the possible different causes. So you begin by introducing the phenomenon, and then you explain, oh, maybe, or one possible cause is this. And then in the next paragraph, another possible cause is that. And you keep going, one cause per paragraph, until you reach the end, the conclusion. And in the conclusion, you should try to pass the ball back to your reader. After your reader has read your essay, how have they benefited? What have they learned? What can they do with this information? The simplest kind of conclusion is, hopefully you now better understand this phenomenon. But if you can, try to make it even more useful. Now that you have this information, what can you do with it? So this model is you take a phenomenon and you look at the different causes. The other model is you take a phenomenon and you look at all of the different possible effects. So again, in the introduction, describe the phenomenon. Then in paragraph 2, say something like one possible effect is something. And then in the next paragraph, another possible effect is something. And you keep going, one possible effect per paragraph, until finally you reach the conclusion where, again, try to pass the ball back to the reader. What can the reader do with this information? How does the reader benefit from this information? So these are the two main models, but if you want, you can also combine them to create a longer essay. So you can deal with the causes first or the effects first. In English, we like to put the more important information last. So if you want to combine both models, you want to talk about causes and effects, talk about the less important one first. If you think the causes are less important, first talk about the different possible causes, then talk about some possible effects. Conversely, if you think that the effects are less important, then begin by talking about the different possible effects and then go on to talk about the different possible causes. Now, because you are focusing on one phenomenon, if you use a combined model, you do not have to connect causes with effects. It's not one cause, one effect. It's different causes for one thing and how this one thing could create different effects. And then you can choose which one you want to start with. Whichever model you choose, remember, it's usually one paragraph will cover one cause or one effect. And finally, if you choose to use a combined model, you should have some kind of transition between the first half and the second half. So if you begin by talking about the causes, you need to transition into then talking about the effects. So the easiest kind of transition is something like, now that we have a better understanding of the possible causes, what are some possible effects? Or if you begin with effects and then you move into causes, you can say something like, with all of these varying effects, how did this phenomenon begin? What are some possible causes? Right? You have to transition between the first half and the second half. And this is important because each paragraph is either one cause or one effect. So if you don't transition, then like you have one paragraph about causes or one paragraph about your last cause, and then suddenly the next paragraph is about your first effect. It doesn't fit together. So you do need to transition between the two parts. And just like for the previous units, you can choose a topic yourself. I encourage you to choose a topic that you find interesting, that you sometimes think about when you're bored, or that you want to learn more about. And the length will be determined by how much information you want to share. As long as your essay is complete, there is no other length requirement. And just a reminder, in this class, I'm asking you to use AI to proofread your spelling and grammar, but do not use AI to help you draft from the beginning. We all know that ChatGPT has basically perfect grammar, right? It reads very fluently. So even if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'll just ask it to give me some ideas and I can pick and choose later, the fact that it is so fluent makes its ideas very convincing. And you may find it hard to disagree with its ideas. So it's very important that you come up with your own ideas and you try to write out the first draft yourself. An essay is not just a collection of facts, right? It's a presentation of those facts. The order that you put them in, the language that you use will influence what kind of ideas are presented. It will influence how the reader understands those ideas. So it's not enough for you to just come up with a list of ideas and then ask AI to write it. The writing itself is the ideas. So you do have to try to write it yourself for the first draft. And of course, later on, as we discuss your essay and as you change things, add things, rearrange things, um, you have to understand what your essay is doing before you can make changes that will improve it. So again, writing it yourself is very important. And also a reminder, after you make modifications and changes, you should ask AI to correct your grammar and spelling again. Some of you might think, oh, I'm just changing a few words, I'm just adding a sentence, and then the word that you change or the sentence that you add is ungrammatical. So even when you make small changes, please ask AI to proofread again. Some of you have mentioned that AI also seems to be giving you ungrammatical results. So I have a few tips for you here. First, you can try opening a new chat. Make sure AI is not learning from your mistakes. You can also try using a temporary chat so that AI has no memory of what you're doing at all. And if you're worried about privacy, you should always delete your conversation history. Otherwise, after I think 30 days, it will become part of AI's training material. You know, in this class, I don't really care too much about what you write, right? It's not like you're going to write a masterpiece of an essay and it's going to shock the whole world. The point is not to produce an essay. The point is to learn how to produce an essay. No matter what job you do in the future, you are going to have to write, whether it's essays or reports or even just emails. And hopefully by practicing how to think through writing an essay, by practicing how to use language to organize and extend your thoughts, it will help you foster the ability to write more logically, more clearly, more convincingly, more emotionally, no matter what you have to write in the future. So yes, I do hope you can produce a good essay, but that's not the point. I hope that the next thing you write will be just as good. And that's partly why we have a final exam. Because that will be a test of how you think about your topic and how you develop that topic within a limited amount of time. And of course, because you can't use AI on the final exam, it will be a test of your abilities. And also, I'm not going to care too much about grammar and spelling. I will care about it, but not too much. Okay, questions? Right, so I've been, grading and marking your essays, and I've noticed that some of you like to write your essays like an Instagram post, like you like to center everything, 自宗. Don't do that. When you read like a textbook or you read the newspaper, the paragraphs are always aligned left, 自作, right? There's no reason to align center. Yeah, I think that's the main issue that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so if you think of questions you want to ask me, feel free to come and talk to me. If you have not yet submitted your narrative final draft, which is here, you can still upload a late essay. Please do so as soon as possible so that you have a midterm grade. And for the rest of today, you can take this time to think about what kind of cause-effect essay you want to write. You can keep working on your exposition essay. For the few who have not yet uploaded your narrative essay final draft, you can also keep working on your narrative essay. When you have some idea about what you want to write for cause effect, please come talk to me and we can talk about your ideas and maybe have some direction for how you can continue.